So welcome back to my garage at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, whatever time it is. All right, so we're gonna cover the last tool for the semester and then kind of wrap things up. All right, so we're gonna go over the jigsaw, okay? Here you have your jigsaw. We're gonna go over the components really quick, okay? We're gonna go over the battery. We're gonna start there so we can remove the battery before we start messing with this tool. So battery, power source located here, okay? This is what gives you the power to run this little equipment here, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and push these two in. As you can see, just push them in, pull, and now it's released. Now you have no battery, power source. So then if you push, it's not gonna work, okay? So this is your battery. We're gonna move this out the way before we go over it because sometimes, you really don't wanna mess with it while it has the battery plugged in, because if it accidentally turns on you, well, there goes your finger or, some skin or something like that. Okay, so next thing we're gonna go over is the trigger. Here's your trigger. It's not like the circular saw or the drill or anything like that. This is kind of like a one speed. Actually, yeah, it's like a one speed here, right? You just pull the trigger. As you pull the trigger, you hold, but you have your speed control up here on top of the handle, okay? And then you go from slow to fast, okay? Depends on you and how comfortable you are with the machine. All right, so then we have our trigger, we had our battery, we had our speed. Now we're gonna go to our blade. So the blade here, walk over here, we have this blade clamp, right? I like to call it a chuck, but it's a blade clamp. So in order to release the blade, you just turn it and you're gonna see the blade pop out. Oh, it didn't jump out because I didn't have it facing down. But normally it pops out. So here we have the blade, okay? It's a T-shank blade, okay? Why? Because it's shaped as a T, okay? So when you insert the blade back in, again, you turn this knob here, you line it up with this guide, and then you just push. Once it's in, you release the clamp, and then you're good. Now you want to double check, obviously, if it's in the mixture, because sometimes it's not in all the way. So then you just tug on it. Perfect. Now, you wouldn't do this with the battery pack in there, because the way you hold it, you never know if you're going to accidentally turn it on yourself, okay? So always make sure power source removed, especially with this tool. All right, now we have the bottom of the jigsaw, which is the base. They also call it the shoe because it's shaped as a shoe. You have this little lever here that controls the rotation of the blade. So this lever here just controls the different rotations of the blade. Okay, you'll go from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this is more of a fine cut, okay? And this is more of an aggressive cut. So you'll go from a fine to an aggressive, all right? And it changes the rotation of the blade. It goes from going up and down, or when it goes to 3, it kind of rotates a little bit, right? It's like chugging along, okay? One last thing to go over. We went over trigger, speed, base, blade, clamp, rotation of the blade. Power source is this little fine button there. So that little fine button is a continuous run button. We do not use it in our shop. We don't use it because this is like a cruise control. And when you're messing with power tools and shop and high school and liability, we don't do that. But this is a cruise control. It's called a continuous run button. Okay, so that's pretty much all we have here. You have the option to tilt at an angle. If you were just to loosen these two bolts here, tilt, you can do that, but we don't do that in the class. Okay, so we're not going to worry about that. Other than that, I think that's it for the components. All right, so now we're back. We're moving on to the demonstration, right? Kind of show the components. Now, a little bit of demo, right? So real quick, in the Nearpod, let me know what type of cuts does the jigsaw make in the Nearpod? What type of cuts does the jigsaw make? Go ahead and type in your response now. Okay, so what you should have answered or typed in that little box is circular cuts and straight cuts. Remember, it makes both. It cuts them straight and circular. It's designed for circular, right? But it does straight as well. Okay, so that's what you should have typed in. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay, so first things first. I have my board here. I'm gonna make a little cut in the Nearpod. What should we do first? Before we get started, what's the first thing we should do? What's missing here? Okay, what's the first thing we should do in the Nearpod? Go ahead. All right, so if you answer correctly, you should have said, Mr. Duran, you should always have your safety glasses on, period, even before you went over the components, because whenever you're in the shop, you need your safety glasses. So that's the first thing we should always have on, safety glasses. All right, next part. Let's go ahead and move on to what's next. All right, so what I'm gonna do, this table is locked, right? You slide this over, give me enough space, okay? So in the Nearpod, what's the next step? We have our jigsaw, I have my safety glasses. What's next? I'm gonna cut, you see what I'm doing? What's next? In the Nearpod. All right, so if you're paying attention and you weren't in the restroom, you should have said, clamp the board down, Mr. Duran. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna clamp it down, right? You want one in the front, one towards the back, right? Towards the back so that it doesn't wanna flip on me when I kind of, maybe if I put a little bit of weight, it won't wanna lift. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do is, first I'm gonna demo the straight cut, okay? So I'm gonna use this little fancy contraption here in the Nearpod. What is this called? All right, so you should have said, Mr. Duran, that is a speed square. That's a speed square. Okay, all right, so now I'm gonna go ahead, I don't know, make a little mark right there, okay. My pencil's a little jacked up, but don't worry about it, we'll get it done, okay. So, I told you to make a straight cut, okay. I have the option, like with the circular saw, right, to use it as a guide, okay. Place it there, I have that option. I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna try to freehand it as best as possible. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's a little dark in my garage, so I'll try my best. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna show you when you use this. What's one thing that you see unsafe right now? Something that you see that's unsafe with this picture right now. Go ahead, end the Nearpod. All right. So what you should have said, Mr. Duran, your drawstrings are hanging down. That's unsafe. You talk about it all the time. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. So I'm gonna tuck it in real quick. I don't know if you guys ever watched that movie Friday, right? Well, you see, I just took it in real quick. All right, so we'll do that. Okay, good to go now. So when I place the jigsaw on the board, right? I never want to place the blade right on it because if I do, it's gonna right. So then just a little bit off. Okay. All right. Ready? Let's go. That's low. That's fast. First. So one of the things to remember is there's a blade down there, right? Remember never to put your hand down here, maybe your thigh, because the tables in the shop are lower. Just be aware of that, okay? Just be aware of that. I used to have a cord jigsaw, but a student chopped it off. So after that, I was like, yeah, we'll just transition to battery pack, okay? All right, so that's kind of more of a straight cut, right? Even though it's not that straight, it's a jigsaw. Now I'm gonna show you the circular saw, okay? Or a circular cut. So now it's gonna be just random. It's not anything in particular, just random. All right, let's go ahead. So let me try something really quick. Okay, I want you guys to see this. So it's at the 0, right? The fine cut. We need the more aggressive cut. Okay, so let's do that now. Switch this over. Now let's try. Let's see if it makes a difference. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's go. Okay, pause it. All right, so what you saw there was bad blade. See that? Blade is no bueno, okay? So that's good to see. So now, to remove it, what am I gonna do? What should I do first? In the near pod. In order to remove that blade and swap it out, what should I do first? In the near pod. All right, what you should have said was remove the battery, right? Battery source out. All right. Now I'm gonna remove that. Swap out the blade, okay? And you know what? I mean, it happens, right? It is what it is. Put a new blade in there, it'll be all right, okay? Little tug. Should be in there. It looks like it's in there, okay? Now, put the battery pack back in there. Check my battery power. Yeah, I'm good. And this is half inch. That's nothing. All right, let's try it again. I'm gonna slide this back in there. Much better. See what happens when you get a brand new blade? Oh man, life is good. So you can do whatever you want, right? Cut this little out, okay? Little circle, kind of circle, well, ugly circle, okay? All right, this is jigsaw. Hope you kind of learned something. Hope you kind of saw that, you know, when stuff happens, you just troubleshoot, adjust, make the changes, and then move forward. It is what it is, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and place this back down, take off my safety glasses, and then that's it, we're done.